Hi guys! What a busy week. This week I've been exploring like crazy. I've been trying new foods, hi Prada, discovering new places, and generally enjoying myself. But this week was also the first week that I worked in Bosch. That's where I'm interning for people who haven't uh, been following or who forgot. And yes, it is actually pronounced like that, Bosch. All in all, it's been a fairly good week. Um, I got adopted early on by the office group that I'm in, and we've gone to lunch a few times, which is actually how I found out about Prada. And since I've probably got all the access that I need for right now, they've started coming to me with projects for me to do, which, thank God, I do not do well with boredom. And while I was trying to get the access, I was just left to read news on the company website. There's, yeah, that for everyone who knows me, you know that that was not a good that was not a good way for me to be. Um, but they've also discovered that I'm fairly good. That I can edit pretty well. Considering I don't have any real formal experience with it except for editing my own stuff. So they've also started coming to me with that. All my writing's paying off. I also had to deal with the government, well, with the hassle of government process this week. Um, there's this pass that I need. It's called it's called a work holiday pass, WHP. And I need it to prove to people that I can legally stay in the country and work for long periods of time, like 6 months. Well, Friday, on my lunch hour, I decided to go and get that piece of identification. I think it would be kind of like a work visa or a green card in the US, though the green card might be longer term. Anyway, um, I don't drive. Something about just not nerd school not offering it as a course, but I think I found the Singapore equivalent of the DMV. I mean, Singaporeans do have a DMV somewhere, but most of the country doesn't use it. But if there was one that, just for people just for foreigners coming into Singapore, this would be that equivalent. I had to go through this very long process. I had to gather up a whole bunch of papers. I had to go to this one area via taxi, so that was a little bit expensive. Though not as expensive as it would be in the States. Taxis are much cheaper here. I had to. Oh, I found out that I went to the wrong building first, so I had to get another taxi to take me to the right building. So I get there just before my appointment. You're supposed to come 15 minutes before. I tried for 15 minutes, but I got there just before my appointment. And, so I rush in. I'm like, I don't want to be late. And what happens? I have to wait. They had me rushing just to wait. I could have just walked there from the place I was first. But I was just waiting and waiting and waiting. I think I spent an hour and 15 minutes just trying to get the dang card. And then they came to me, they're like, oh yeah, we're not giving you the card right here. Say, what? Yeah, we're not giving you the card right here. Here, write down the address that you'll be at, that you want us to deliver it to, and tell us how to verify it's you, and we'll bring the card to you at work. It saves me having to stay home and wait for it, like the cable company. Anyway, at least the photos looked good. For a completely different topic, I went to church for the first time here in Singapore. I was invited to go to a church where my coworker was at, and I think it's called Heart of God Church. It's in Singapore. It's fairly big. It's been around for 16 years. So still kind of a little bit of a baby church, but not that much. And it was in a different part of town than I'd ever been in before, so that was also interesting. But the service was entirely in English, which was okay. Like, English is the business language. I think I think Malaysian is actually the official language, but the service was entirely in English. And to my surprise, they had 2 guest ministers there from Switzerland, of all places. The service was about conquering mountains or challenges. And I didn't quite know how to think. I was still evaluating the church when the second worship song that I heard was Newsboys. That's right. I went to the entire other side of the world, to a culture where I would not expect people to speak in my language, though I'm grateful they do. And one of the worship songs was Newsboys. God's Not Dead. I was just... I almost would have laughed if it wouldn't have been really disrespectful. So that did feel like home. That did feel like home church. There were also a few other things, like, and I was surprised to see that was similar, but there were a couple of different things. I'm not sure if this is entirely Singapore church culture, or if it's just Singapore culture, or if it's just that church's tradition, but they handed out prizes for students who did really well on their exams. And the church, well, it might be because the church itself is very, very youth-oriented, it's a very young church. Most of everyone that I saw there was a young professional, or a student, or maybe the parent of a student. But I was taking a look at the awards and like, oh man, I totally would have won that. I totally would have owned it. Well, I'm glad those kids have that chance. Beyond that, there hasn't actually been that much else, though. I think I've gotten pretty used to the public transportation here. It just requires that I get my head out of the clouds and actually pay attention to my surroundings. But I'm surprising people when I can pronounce and speak some Chinese correctly. And if there was one final big thing to report, it's that I've discovered it's very, very cheap to travel to other countries from here. Like other Southeast Asian countries. So who knows? One of these days I might report in from Hong Kong. That's a serious possibility right now. I think that wraps up everything. I did not intend this video to be so long. Love to my peeps. Y'all know who you are. Talk to you later. Bye.